Imagine this. You're deep in the wilderness. The sun has just vanished below the tree line and a sudden, biting wind whips through the forest. You feel that familiar chill, a primal instinct kicking in, and you realize you need shelter. Fast. I've been there. Caught off guard by an unexpected storm miles from anywhere. That night taught me a profound lesson. Knowing how to build a safe haven isn't just a skill. It's the difference between a miserable night and a potentially life-saving one. Today, we're diving into the essential art of bushcraft shelters, your ultimate guide to creating a temporary home that protects you from whatever nature throws your way. The choice of shelter isn't a one-size-fits-all decision. It depends on several important factors. Think about the climate you're in. Is it freezing cold or scorching hot? How long do you plan to stay, a single night or an extended period? What tools do you have available? Just your hands and a knife, or an axe and a saw? And finally, the type of terrain you find yourself in: a dense forest, an open plain, or a rocky outcrop. Understanding these variables is the very first step toward constructing an effective and ultimately a life-saving refuge. Before you even think about gathering a single branch, the most critical decision you'll make is selecting the right location. A strategic spot can make all the difference, not just in the shelter's effectiveness, but in your overall safety and well-being. Always look for ground that is level and firm, avoiding steep slopes, unstable soil, or rocky areas that could complicate construction, or worse, pose a risk of collapse. Proximity to a clean water source, like a stream or spring, is absolutely essential for hydration and hygiene. But be vigilant. It's vital to avoid building too close to prevent flooding or excessive dampness if the water level rises. Natural protection from wind and rain is another key consideration. Seek out areas shielded by rock formations, elevated terrain, or dense vegetation that can act as a natural barrier. The sun's orientation plays a significant role too, especially in colder environments. A shelter facing east, for instance, will catch the morning sun, helping to warm the interior and dry out any dampness. Conversely, in hotter climates, you'll want to avoid locations overly exposed to strong sun throughout the day to prevent overheating. Natural soil drainage is another critical factor. The chosen site must allow water to drain away naturally during rain, preventing accumulation around your shelter. A simple check involves observing the ground. If you see excessive mud or erosion marks, it's best to move on. Beyond environmental factors, assessing natural risks is crucial. Always steer clear of animal trails, dens, beehives, or nests to reduce unwanted encounters. Avoid very steep or eroded slopes, especially after heavy rains, due to the risk of landslides. And never, under any circumstances, build your shelter in valley bottoms, low riverbanks, or areas where water can quickly accumulate, as these are prone to flash floods. Remember the 3 rupees rule or widowmakers. Never set up camp under large, dry branches that could fall with the wind. They are aptly named for a reason. Always choose a slightly elevated area for drainage, avoiding those dry valley bottoms that can become raging flash flood channels during sudden downpours. Finally, ensure there's an abundance of fallen material, like dead wood nearby, so you don't have to cut down living trees unnecessarily. Respecting the environment is part of bushcraft. Once your location is secured, you can then consider the type of shelter that best suits your needs. We'll explore 3 classic bushcraft shelters, each with its own distinct advantages and ideal conditions. The lean-to, your quick and efficient windbreak. The lean-to, or one-sided shelter, is perhaps one of the most classic and simple bushcraft shelters you can construct. It's a quick and efficient structure, particularly effective against wind and light rain. This shelter consists of an inclined structure supported by a back wall, typically made with branches or logs, and then covered with layers of leaves, bark, or even a tarp if you have one. It's ideal for moderate climates or when the wind predominantly comes from one direction, as that back wall acts as a natural wind barrier. To build it, you start by supporting a sturdy crossbeam, often called a ridge pole, between two living trees, or by using a log on each side as a support. Then you lean branches against this ridge pole to form a single inclined plane, creating your roof. Cover this framework with layers of leaves, grass, bark, and thin branches, always starting from the bottom and overlapping upwards like shingles on a house. This is key for shedding water. The more layers, the better the sealing and insulation. 4. Heavy rain. Increase the roof's inclination to allow water to drain effectively. If it's windy, reinforce the structure with crossed branches and simple lashings to prevent it from blowing away. Inside, you can improvise a bed with dry leaves, grass, your backpack, and extra clothes, elevating it 5 to 10 centimeters off the ground to avoid direct contact with the cold, damp earth. It's crucial that the interior remains dry, as humidity significantly hinders your body's ability to stay warm. The lean-to is brilliantly designed to work in conjunction with a reflective campfire positioned directly in front of its opening. The inclined roof acts like a parabolic reflector, capturing the fire's radiant heat and directing it downwards, right where you're lying, creating a surprisingly warm microclimate. The A-frame debris hut, the ultimate insulator. Then there's the debris hut or debris shelter, which prioritizes thermal insulation above all else. This is arguably the ultimate survival and natural camouflage shelter, a true testament to using the forest's own materials. It leverages the inherent thermal insulation of forest debris to keep you incredibly warm, even without an internal fire. To build one, you select a straight, sturdy log that is about 20 to 40 centimeters longer than your body when lying down, with a thickness similar to your forearm for a good balance of rigidity and weight. One end of this main log is supported on the ground, where your head will be, and the other on a firm support, such as a natural tree fork, an A-frame made of lashed branches, or a stable rock formation. The entrance should be intentionally small, just high enough to crawl through, around 60 to 90 centimeters, because a small opening retains heat far more effectively. The sides are then built like ribs, leaning branches of 2 to 4 centimeters in diameter against the main log at an angle of approximately 45 to 60 degrees, all the way down to the ground. Space them closely, about 10 to 15 centimeters apart, to create a robust framework that can hold the immense weight of the covering without gaps. Once this rib structure is stable, cross thinner branches horizontally to lock the entire framework together. The true secret of the debris hut lies in its density, since the internal space is intentionally small, just enough for you to enter and lie down comfortably. Your body heat becomes trapped inside. Cover the external structure with a massive layer of dry leaves, moss, and small branches, literally piling it on. The thicker this layer of debris, ideally 50 centimeters to 1 meter thick, the more waterproof and incredibly insulated the shelter becomes. Before lying down, it's crucial to insulate the floor inside the hut with a thick layer of dry leaves or pine needles. Close the entrance with a simple door, such as a bundle of leaves and grass tied to a branch, to reduce air exchange without completely blocking ventilation. A critical safety note: never light a fire inside a debris hut due to the extreme fire risk. If needed, build a small campfire at a safe distance outside. The Super Shelter / Log Baker Tent. Comfort for longer stays. For longer stays, or when a higher level of comfort and durability is desired, a semi-permanent shelter might be considered. This is where the Super Shelter, also known as a log baker tent, comes in. It's a more robust, rectangular structure that typically requires tools like an axe or saw and significantly elevates the level of comfort for prolonged camping. Instead of thin branches, you construct 3 solid walls using stacked logs, similar to a partial log cabin. leaving the front entirely open. This open front is strategically designed to face a campfire, maximizing radiant heat. The roof can be made with a sturdy rafter structure covered by thick tree bark, mud mixed with leaves, an adapted wattle and daub technique, or a tightly stretched tarp disguised with foliage for camouflage and added insulation. Because it has vertical walls, it allows for the installation of an elevated bushcraft bed made with horizontal poles lashed together. This elevated bed is a game changer, keeping you off the damp ground and away from insects, significantly improving comfort and reducing heat loss. Regardless of the type of shelter you choose to build, some fundamental principles always apply. The size of the shelter is paramount for thermal efficiency. Smaller shelters retain heat far better than large, airy ones. However, ensure there's still enough space for you to move comfortably and store your essential belongings. Insulation and waterproofing are critical. Natural insulators like dry leaves, moss, grass, and even snow can be used for thermal insulation. The outer covering must effectively protect against precipitation, shedding water away from the interior. When you begin construction, start by preparing the ground, clearing it of any stones, sharp branches, or debris, and leveling the area for maximum comfort. Then build the main structure, whether it's a central beam, a ridgeline rope, or a series of A-frames, ensuring it's firmly fixed and stable. Add the roof, covering it with your chosen materials, be it a tarp, layers of leaves, or debris, always making sure it has a sufficient incline for water drainage. Reinforce the stability using stone, stakes, or compacted soil to secure the structure against strong winds. Insulate the interior by lining the floor with a thick layer of dry leaved grass, or if you have one, a thermal blanket to retain precious body heat. Finally, always test the resistance of your shelter by gently shaking the structure, and if possible, simulate rain to identify any potential leaks before nightfall. Adaptability is a key skill in the wilderness. Weather conditions can change rapidly and unexpectedly, so an effective shelter is one that can be easily adapted to new circumstances. If the weather warms up unexpectedly, create openings for ventilation, or use only a lighter cover like a tarp. For unexpected cold nights, reinforce the sides with more dry leaves and branches, or create additional wind barriers around the shelter. If the wind changes direction dramatically, reposition the shelter's entrance or add additional coverage on the newly exposed side. For sudden rain, improvise gutters with branches to divert water away from the entrance, or stretch your tarp with an adequate inclination for efficient drainage. Essential items for shelter construction, even a basic kit, can make a huge difference. A fixed blade knife is a versatile and indispensable tool for cutting, carving, preparing branches, and countless other basic tasks. Paracord or strong rope is used for lashings, securing tarps, and creating more stable structures. A foldable saw is excellent for cutting larger branches or wood for structural supports, saving you immense energy. Stakes or fastening pins, whether aluminum or improvised from sturdy branches, help secure tarps or reinforce structures in the ground. While not construction items themselves, a thermal insulator or emergency blanket significantly increases comfort and protection inside the shelter by reflecting body heat. For those who want to travel light, a compact bushcraft kit might include a good quality knife, 10 to 15 meters of paracord, an ultralight tarp, a compact foldable saw, a lighter or fire steel for warmth, and an aluminized thermal blanket. Useful extras include a multi-tool or multifunction pocket knife, small clips or carabiners for the tarp, duct tape for quick repairs, and a compass with a mirror for navigation and signaling. When collecting materials, it's profoundly important to be mindful of the environment. Always avoid cutting living